close this season, we will hear a sort of audio collage of the voices of all of our guests talking about movement by means of activism, contribution, and consciousness. These are the voices of Barbara Holmes, Jennifer Clement, Marina Viotti, Andrew Seeley, Tenzing Choigal Sherpa, Peter by Ceci, Louis Benesch, Ewan Shields, Elisa Carrillo Cabrera, Karim Hassan, Jose Hernandez, Rabbi Rami Shapiro, and Peter Lovett.
As a young girl, coming home from college, I went to the second march in Selma. And as you remember, the first march, they beat the protesters. And Martin Luther King called for a march in Selma following that march for everyone to come. And my dad and I got on a bus from New Haven, Connecticut, and rode down to Selma, Alabama. And I remember that the troopers who were there hated us more than the people who were on the sides, screaming and cursing. But there was Joan Baez and Bob Dylan and Harry Belafonte. And so even though we were surrounded by angry mobs the night before the march, the songs, the music stood in defiance and as a public statement. What better public theology is there that we will not be turned around?
It's vocational work. So it means that you have to have a great belief in freedom of expression and be willing to fight for it. And it's every day, it's very humbling because every day I'm in contact with people who risk everything to tell the truth. And the thing is this, if we don't know the truth, how can we act? How do we know what we need to do?
You always have your inner voice that will tell you if it is the right choice or not, if it is a risk worth taking, why. Sing with your own voice. Be the artist you want to be. There is not only the boxes we know, there are many to be created yet. And more in this century, we have to go further.
We need to figure out a way that legal mobility around the world does not become something that is only for the already well-off.
We have eyes, but we can't see because we need education. We don't have literacy, we don't know how to read and write. So build us a school here, build us something here so that not only us, our future generations can then try to make something of themselves.
With all these developments that are ahead of us, so just by naming all these different developments that we will experience in the next 5 to 10 years, in my eyes, if I close my eyes, I'm dreaming of a building that is a brain tower, brings all these people together, and we are not discussing anymore, are you a neurosurgeon, are you a neurologist, are you an interventionalist, are you a scientist? No, in the end, we are a big family. Highly qualified members of this family are working for these patients and are moving the field ahead.
The movement of human beings is very important. I don't conceive any garden without thinking of the motion we have in it. I'm sure that it brings peace in a rather vibrant world.
The reason I became a musician in the first place was playing an orchestra for the first time and having a really transformative experience. I remember vividly every note of the Brahms Fourth Symphony and feeling like I was looking to the side and I felt connected to the cellist that was next to me, and I felt that the whole cello section was one unit, and I could see across the violin section and the conductor, and the fact that we come from very diverse backgrounds and we play different instruments. For example, the rich, deep, and dark sonority of the contrabassoon is completely contrasting from the brilliance and the clarity of a trumpet. But we all have to come together and put our sounds on top of each other and create something in harmony, which none of us can on our own. was something that was so exciting and profoundly moving. That really set my life to a different direction where I thought, this is something I want to dedicate my life to.
I have learned through many years the most important for an artist is to get rich in the way of knowledge. Traveling through different countries, seeing different ways of working with different choreographers, different traditions, different point of view, different ways of enjoying life, of seeing dance, of techniques. There is different techniques in ballet world. So all this experience has given me a lot of a good base, and this let me grow up as a dancer, but also as a woman.
There is something about conducting. You see and you hear that we all have the same idea about how it should go. And then you see in the performance the way that the swathe of strings might physically move towards a certain harmony. And these are the moments that I think to myself, this is what music making is all about. It is that collective understanding, that collective idea about musical performance.
And the hatch, there's a window where we're looking down on Earth. And we had just made one revolution when it was my turn to unbuckle, and I could see Canada, United States, and Mexico. And I'll tell you what struck me as beautiful was that I couldn't tell where one country ended and the other began. And I said, my gosh, I had to go out of this world to realize that down there we're just one. We're one race, we're the human race.
I would like to see in every mosque and church and synagogue and temple and ashram and every cultural center and spiritual center on the planet, I would like to see a planetarium. If you go into a cathedral, we've got this big dome. That dome should be a planetarium. So you could go in and sit in the pew, but you could also look up and see the universe and realize you're part of that.
Movement is a fundamental part of who we are. Movement defines us as being alive. And movement defines our ability to demonstrate that life and to communicate that life both to ourselves and to other people. It is a fundamentally important part of our human nature, and we should stop anyone from ever restricting us from moving ever again.
Thank you very much, Professor Borg, for given us the honor of your time and sharing your deep knowledge and history of political thought and having us provided with a fantastic and insightful closing episode. We dearly, dearly appreciate it.
Well, thank you very much, and goodbye, and thank you for the discussion.
Thank you, Sven, for making such a great co-host for this episode.
It was a pleasure. Thanks a lot to both of you.
To all our listeners, our guests, co-hosts, and of course, Micha, you've made of this season a fantastic experience. And thank you. Bye-bye, and see you next season.